If you're just tuning in now, at the start of the show, I brought you an exclusive story about the Labor Party being accused of pork barrelling, reminiscent of the spots rot saga under the Morrison government. This is called Improving Mobile Coverage Round. That's the funding from the Labor government. As it turns out, 40 locations out of 54 are Labor electorates, even though Labor only holds 33% of regional seats. And just 11 out of the 54 locations are in coalition electorates, even though the coalition holds 62% of regional seats. I spoke to Shadow Communications Minister David Coleman a moment ago.
Sharri, there's a lot of questions to answer about this. So Labor's got 33% of regional electorates, 74% of the money they've allocated to Labor seats. Coalition, 62% of regional electorates, 20% of the locations in the mobile black spot program are in coalition seats. And the thing that's particularly important here is it appears that the Minister, Michelle Rowland, has personally directed the department to do this.
Based on what do you make that accusation that she personally directed this funding?
Well, normally what would happen is you would have the department recommend a process and you'd allow people to apply from different locations and so on. But from the Minister's press releases, it does appear that she has specified the 54 locations, overwhelmingly in Labor electorates. And so I actually asked her in Parliament recently, were any of these locations based on the advice of your department, or did you actually pick every one of them? And she didn't answer. And I'm pretty sure the reason she didn't answer is because she did, in fact, direct every one of these locations. But of course, she can clear that up if I'm wrong. She can hold a press conference and, really explain what's gone on here.
So do you think this is similar to the spots rot saga? Do you see this as pork barrelling?
Well, look, obviously, those issues were well litigated in the previous government, in the media and elsewhere. What I would say is that Labor was very holier than thou in relation to these sorts of electorates, and the Prime Minister used very strong language to describe grants programs. And, Jim Chalmers said words to the effect of, we won't consider whether electorates are marginal or not. It'll be about community concerns and nothing else. Now, that's blatantly not the case here, because it's just not the case that you could objectively come up with a list that had 74% Labor seats on it. And, some of the...
Well, 40 out of 54 Labor seats.
Right.
So what answers would you like now? Do you think there should be an inquiry to determine the process by which this funding was allocated?
Yeah, I think the first step should be for the Minister to come forward and explain all this. And let's see if she does that, and let's see if she's transparent. There are obviously options open to us in terms of seeking further inquiries through different avenues of the government. But I think, the Minister should be given an opportunity to come forward, release documents related to this. It'd be very interesting to see any correspondence.
Should there have been departmental advice around which areas receive funding? I
would imagine so, yes. I would be very surprised.
And if there wasn't any departmental advice on this?
Yeah, I would be very surprised if there wasn't any departmental advice. It'd be interesting to see what the Minister has told her department, communications of her staff, with the department. And if the Minister's proud of this program, it's her program, hand-picked list, if she's proud of it, come out and explain to the country how it's all worked. But it seems, it's a bit ironic, but for the Minister, for the media, she seems to be a little media shy and she hasn't answered questions on this.
OK, look, I want to ask you about another topic as well. Elon Musk's satellite business Starlink already has 100,000 active local subscribers in Australia. That's just in 2 years. Do you think this is going to render the NBN obsolete and an utter waste of money?
Well, look, the NBN's got a big problem here. And the Minister, again, likes to put her name on press releases about the NBN and so on. But this is a huge issue because Starlink has more customers than Sky Muster, and it's only been available across the entire nation since November last year, progressive rollout over a couple of years. The NBN's a very valuable asset for taxpayers. We inherited an absolute mess. Labor had spent $5 billion on the NBN and had only 50,000 customers. We fixed it. The NBN was working very well. But, if the NBN can't compete with Elon Musk, that's going to cause huge problems in the value of the NBN, and it is a very big issue for the Minister. You can't have it both ways. You can't say, well, the NBN's arm's length, I don't run it, and on the other, put your name on every press release that comes out from the NBN. So Michelle Rowland needs to explain how she's going to fix this.
David Coleman, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Sharri.